Thanks, Nathan. It's fantastic to be here. I'm not sure I'm competing with the Kardashians, or at least the lack of coffee this morning. But I do want to welcome you to the second day of your conference here and offer a very warm welcome on behalf of the Premier of New South Wales, who I know has a very strong personal connection to the deepening relationship between Australia and particularly our own state of New South Wales and Israel. I would start with the necessity is the mother of all invention. I'm not actually quite sure who came up with that saying, but I know that it's in the hallmark, if not the DNA, of the organisations and the countries that we represent here today. The formation of Israel really built necessity into the way people think and has almost ingrained innovation into the DNA of that country. I think the same thing exists here in Australia. When your start to life is effectively being dropped on the far side of the world and asked as a way to survive, you do have that same DNA invested in your body, that same approach to innovation, that same willingness to test ideas. Right now, the New South Wales economy is driving the national economy. Almost 90% of gross domestic demand is generated out of New South Wales at the moment. Nearly 2 in every 3 jobs in Australia are generated in this economy. It's a AAA rated economy. It's a government that has almost no net debt. It's a government that is working very, very closely with the private sector. It has one of the largest infrastructure agendas happening anywhere in the world. And the size of this economy is larger than Hong Kong, Singapore, and a country like Finland. So it does mean that New South Wales is a fantastic place to invest and a fantastic place to do business. I know that the Premier is also very, very committed, like myself as the New South Wales Trade Minister, to create investment opportunities and business opportunities right around the globe. We now have 11 offices representing New South Wales in markets right around the world, with a particular emphasis on those growth markets here in Asia. And I do think that the collaborative opportunities between Australia and Israel present some quite unique opportunities for tapping into those growth markets. Earlier in the year, the Premier was in Israel, where he launched a R&D commercialisation agreement where $2 million was invested between our government and the Israeli government in supporting businesses between New South Wales and Israeli businesses doing research and development collaboration. We're also working incredibly closely on the work around medicinal cannabis, something that the Premier has taken a personal interest in, and the research that's taking place between our two countries is another strong example of the ingrained nature of this collaborative agreement. We also have very close relationships when it comes to additional medtech research. I know that we've got institutions in both of our states that are working quite closely, particularly in the genomics space too. And even an organisation like the Royal Flying Doctors has a close relationship with what's taking place in Israel, with our simulator program happening for Royal Flying Doctors being established out of Israel. And that's another great example of what's happening in Australia and Israel and our capacity to work together. We've also supported 8 fintech and cybersecurity firms in the landing or launching pad that the Commonwealth Government has set up as well. And that's also something that we work very, very closely with. The Prime Minister has been incredibly passionate about his science and innovation agenda, and New South Wales is right at the forefront of that. I see great opportunities in fintech and financial services, where you have over 60% of the financial services community in Australia located here in New South Wales. That also brings huge amounts of funds under management. And I've got no doubt that across the VC communities that are both in this room and in our respective countries, we have a lot to learn from each other. Australia has traditionally been a risk-averse investor. Maybe that comes from our distance and our capacity to always require a bit of safety. It also means that we're good managers of wealth, but perhaps we don't give those early stage startups the chance that they need. So the capacity to learn out of Israel and your VC culture is something I think we can benefit from here in Australia. We also see great opportunities around medical technology. One thing that both of our countries have in common is an incredibly well-educated workforce. Sydney is the home of the richest, deepest talent pool that exists in the Asia Pacific. Richer and deeper than Singapore, richer and deeper than Kuala Lumpur, Shanghai, Guangzhou or Hong Kong. It's also increasingly becoming the place in which organisations look to set up their Asia Pacific base. New South Wales is very much an Asian literate state, and Australia is very much an Asian literate nation. I think as Israel reaches further around the globe to create new investment and business opportunities, it's important that you understand how important the growth markets in the Asia Pacific are and the role that Australia plays in giving you a safe landing zone. We're both countries that are rich and deep in history. We're countries that have an appreciation of the rule of law, and we're both very innovative countries. I think that sets up a fantastic platform for us to work together. And I know that you've already had one day of fantastic collaboration and discussion, and you have another day ahead of you. So a very warm welcome from me, the New South Wales Trade Minister. I hope you find the rest of the day very, very productive. My team, through the Department of Premier and Cabinet, and our Trade and Investment team, also in conjunction with Australia's Austrade team, is there to help you, whether it's facilitating investment like Present Tense, an Israeli company that is set up in the very strong growth area of Western Sydney around our new Badgerys Creek Airport, or whether it's supporting Australian collaboration and investment back in Israel. We're here to help. Have a great day.